Nautique, TSC1, 2, or 3, right now on Afterski. Down first. The TSC1 was the hull that Nautique kind of took the mantle, slalom mantle for Mastercraft, you'd say.
Yeah, up to that point, I would say Mastercraft probably had him beat. You know, the slant back was good, but no, not as good as that 93, 94, or 92, 93, 94, 190, ProStar 190. I think, I'm not sure, I'd have to look back on the records, but I think Mastercraft still had most of the men's and women's world's records at that time. And then the first year of the TSC1 there, 1997, I mean, I think the first record, Christy Overton maybe, I think she got one at 41 behind that 97, and then it went from there with Nautique's getting most of them.
Okay, so then 98, motor box was changed.
Yeah.
And the tank. Well, this is the 99?
This is 99.
99, probably the tank got changed. And then 2000?
99, the only other change, yeah, there's a couple of subtle changes from 97 to 98. I think the tach swung a little different,
Yeah,
stuff like that. But I'm talking, yeah, the Tunable rudder came out in 99. So they came out with a Tunable rudder in 99, and then 2000 is when the end started, and then she changed to the hull change. But there was some, a lot of people don't talk about it too much, you know, that rear seat, you couldn't take the back seat right out like you could with the 97 and 99. You could, but the tank was moved on the floor. It had that, the backrest slid up and down for a little storage area there.
Okay.
And I remember too with there may have been a compartment there that flipped up. I can't remember exactly, but it definitely slid up and down, and there's something different. It moved to the floor. A lot of people took out the middle cushion, so when they stepped over, it was there. It didn't have the gull wing doors which was started in 2002. So that's when the hull changed again.
So 2000 TSC2 came in 2002 officially.
Yeah. So yeah, that was what I was saying about that other was the 2000 and 2001 with the M and that
Right.
rear seat with that up. No. And then yes, the TSC2 started in 2002, which they officially started calling it the 196. They didn't really call it the 190. The TSC1 wasn't called the 196. It was officially called 196 in 2002.
So TSC2 is actually quite the deal because they lopped off the padded keel. The padded keel was almost gone, and you got a much flatter bottom boat.
Yeah.
Oh, and did they change the motor sits lower? Did they do that in 2002?
Yeah, I think they changed the angle a little bit too of the.
Oh,
of
for
the
sure.
motor. Yeah, they did, and of course
when you had that bump on the bottom of your hull in the 05, that's because the oil pan is sitting low, so
Yeah.
they had to create clearance for the
That's
oil
right.
pan.
And of course, then the power plant changed halfway through 02 also when PCM ran out of the 351 block. Had to go exclusively to 350 and 527.
Right. So the TSC2 was, it had the strakes.
Yes.
You got the strakes, which create a bit more bubble turbulence. I call it the corduroy,
Yeah.
but lines out the back,
Yeah.
and quite a flat wake actually.
Yeah, it was an amazing wake. Trickers hated it for toe turns because of the turbulence and that, but for slalom, it was amazing wake. Amazing. You know, definitely short from 32 and beyond was definitely a better wake than the bubble butter, the TSC1 from 701. Oh, it's absolutely 100% better. Well, not 100% better.
The boat sits different in the water. Like when it's moving through the water, the boat sits flatter. It's got a lot more spray coming from the bow, and it's very kind of a linear boat through the water. Mm-hmm. It rides quite flat.
Yeah. Now, I hear a lot of guys that say, no, you read up stuff and they're saying, no, it isn't better. But it's the slalom wake is definitely a better wake.
Oh, for sure.
They're both fantastic wakes, but it definitely is. If we're talking.
What we have is from TSC2 to TSC3.
Mm-hmm.
And TSC3 was probably to address the turbulence trigger thing.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that to be true.
So when did the gate? Okay, what they got rid of in the TSC3 was no more strakes.
Exactly.
So clean hull again, or clean bottom line.
Yeah.
The flow of the water coming out the back is that nice flat, kind of non-bubbly
Yeah.
that you get with the TSC1 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the TSC1 is kind of a clean flow at the back too. Beautiful for trick.
It is. I mean,
lightweight boarding.
And again, a lot of guys will say that the TSC1, for driving wise, tracks better than the TSC2 or the 3. But the 3, yeah, they
I would say so too.
Yeah. So they put a little lever here right by the throttle for the TSC2. They call it the hydrogate. It's just a little metal piece that is up and down. Yeah. So try to simulate the strake, so to speak. So you got it different, for the slalom. I haven't skied behind a lot of them, but I'm sure they're a fantastic wake also.
Yeah, there's no reason to go back.
No, that's right.
They wouldn't go back. And they still ride in the water. This is very similar to a TSC2. So a TSC2 and TSC3, in terms of boat attitude, I think the drive shaft angle is the same.
Yeah.
And how it sets in the water is pretty much the same.
Yeah. And that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to, exactly what you said, address that trigger issue without changing anything else.
Right. Yeah. It's still a tight boat, like this. In terms of the size of the boat, you get 3 people in there, or a driver and 2 people. Mm-hmm. Do you ever have 3 people sit in the observer seat? That's a little too much, right?
Well, depends on who it is. There's 3 small.
Yeah, you get a couple people in there. It's still, I think it's a fairly, just in pictures it looks narrow by today's standards.
It is. Yeah, you see 2 big guys in the observer seat.
Yeah,
it looks a little cramped.
Kind of tight, but that's what gives it its acceleration and top end.
Yeah.
They also, with the TSC2 and TSC3, paid attention to weight. You can see that. I mean, all the seating got lighter.
Yeah.
The positioning of the tank was more forward. It still was a 2,600 pound boat, and it's well built, 2,600 pounds. So, it's a fairly light boat for what it is.
Yeah,
for the size of it. So then we get to 09, which is the last year of the TSC.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yes. Last year, the 196.
And that hull is with the hydrogate.
Yeah.
Got the gate.
Got 0 off. Got everything. I mean, again, 06, 7, 8, 9. We're all TSC3.
Still an Andy Mapple hull, I guess you could say. It was Andy Mapple all the way through then, even to the 200s.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy designed it. Was a big part of designing both of those hulls.
Yeah, it shows, really.
Yeah. Oh.
TSC1, TSC2, TSC3, and now we come to the 200. So, I think what happened was, the Nautique, the TSC1 to me is still a traditional Nautique the way it looks and drives, having had the 2001 and the earlier ones, or been in the earlier ones. I think the TSC2, TSC3 were a departure. They were a little more skittish, flatter riding, still a great skiing boat, but it wasn't traditional Nautique. When I saw the 200, I thought, man, it's kind of back to the way the Nautique was. Back then, just the way, I loved the way it looked in the water, and I loved how it took off, basically.
Yeah.
Because the drive shaft angle was back to its original angle of the TSC.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great boat. I know they're saying right through every line length and long line, for kids, slower speeds, the whole thing. I haven't skied behind it a lot, but
I did see a bit of a bump at the 22, 28. I see guys kicking the ski a little.
Yeah, definitely. And I know some guys have had some issues with the gate, with the hydrogate. I know that I've read some articles on guys having, saying it's got a big bump at 28,